This is Big White Mountain just outside of Kelowna, British Columbia. Up here, you feel like you're on top of the world. And maybe that's how Subaru has been feeling for the past few years. You see, back in 1994, Subaru sold a grand total of 4,000 vehicles in Canada. Today, it's pushing around 41,000. What's their secret? We'll find out in just a moment. But first, let's check out the brand new Impreza.
Different for a reason. So what that means is we're not going to do just what everybody else does. We're going to do things for Impreza because we think it's the right thing to do. We have a new third generation Eyesight debuting on this vehicle. What that is a collision mitigation system, but it's one of the only ones in the compact car segment that actually works on the highway. So if you can imagine going 120, 130 kilometers per hour, this car will still automatically brake for you before getting into a collision.
This vehicle is much more than a mid-cycle refresh. When you take a look at the vehicle, you certainly see some visual cues that are different, make this vehicle even more attractive. The interior quality, the materials we've used have all been upgraded. The audio system, the infotainment systems have been upgraded.
We have a sedan and a 5-door to appeal to both types of customers. More active outdoor users may choose the 5-door, but we also have the sedan as well. And all of the new Impreza has gotten a lot of new improvements in terms of fuel economy, changes to the CVT transmission. There's been many suspension changes to give it a flatter ride, better handling, better steering, and also creating a much quieter cabin. We've even gone so far as to make some of the door glass thicker to create a quieter environment inside the vehicle.
Subaru came to Canada in 1978, and as I mentioned, in 1994, it hit a sales low with 4,000 vehicles. But then Subaru made a decision it has never regretted.
In 1995, we decided to have a lineup that was exclusively all-wheel drive. That was a very bold move, because up until then, about 40% of our sales were front-wheel drive vehicles. But what was important is to differentiate ourselves from the other brands and provide people with a clear message about what Subaru represented.
Subaru suggests this vehicle is a viable alternative for your average sports utility. To give the Outback the basic requirements of a sport utility vehicle, Subaru has raised this wagon by 1.2 inches.
It was also a year, 1995, when we introduced a new vehicle called the Outback. And the Outback, probably more than any other vehicle, gave our brand a personality of a rugged vehicle, reliable vehicle, and a vehicle you just have a whole lot of fun with, and it's so versatile.
I like the CVT in the Impreza, what they've done for 2015 to refine it with the new step ratios. I think it takes away a lot of the kind of risk that people think, of CVTs with the kind of rubber band effect. But it's really quite fun to drive, and automatic transmissions is so good these days. And this CVT is really, I think, one of the best in the industry, if not the best.
The powertrain is a 2.0 liter, 148 horsepower engine. Again, it's PZEV rated, which means it's a partial zero emissions vehicle. It's well suited to the Impreza, especially with the CVT transmission that maximizes that power band. The reason for going up at the top of the mountain is to show that, you can be in a snowy condition, you can use all-wheel drive, you can even use Eyesight and snow together, to try to avoid something. And then also be able to, cruise down and enjoy the suspension and the steering, in a sunny environment with dry roads as well. So all-wheel drive isn't just about snow. We're trying to say it's about all conditions at any time of year.
They can keep the loyalists happy with what they're doing right now, especially with vehicles like the WRX and the WRX STI. But for the new Impreza, it kind of appeals to a whole new demographic. Maybe people that haven't thought of buying an Impreza before. They've been looking for Civics or Corolla, and this is something that kind of appeals to them, that has all-wheel drive, that works well for the Canadian climate. I think it is something that they should really consider when they're shopping around.
Impreza is different than other compact cars, but it's different for a lot of right reasons. And it's a vehicle that's perfect for Canadian climate, regardless of the road or weather conditions.
As I said earlier, life has been good for Subaru in the showroom. However, it's still a love-hate relationship with Canadian consumers. Would I buy a Subaru? Well, like Bill says, the rule of thumb remains the same for any purchase of any vehicle. Look at your needs. Don't buy too much and don't buy too little. So if you're looking for an all-wheel drive vehicle, well, it doesn't get any better than this. Design, a bit bland, but maybe that's what suits you, and so on. Now, if I lived out here in British Columbia, would I put an Impreza on my list? I probably would, but you know what I like most about this new vehicle is the work that Subaru has done to improve the CVT transmission. Would I include it on my list? Probably would, if I was buying an Impreza.